did work at McDonald's when I was in high school.
I'm like, this is just the raddest job ever.
They say pimping ain't easy. I'll make it more simple. Pimping is difficult.
It said in March '94, after a recommendation from a friend, you got a job at a Sinclair garage in Urbandale. You worked the night shift, which you preferred because it left weekends free and days free, so you could spend time with your friends, and you enjoyed listening to music while working.
Very, very true.
Yeah.
Another reason is I got a recommendation from a mutual friend that worked there, and he was a metalhead as well. And so I would be practicing with my band, like Montefidius, and then like we would go down there like after hours, and we would just listen to metal like 10 to 8. And I'm like, this is just the raddest job ever. And the owner and manager, Dwayne, he was, I asked him for a job because it was just perfect. I could listen to metal all the time, work from like, I could go to band practice at 6 o'clock, and go until like 9:30. Then I would go right to Sinclair, listen to metal, and all the guys in Slipknot would come down there, and we'd just start mapping out everything that was going on, or what we wanted to do, from 1995, and I worked there till like about 97, and then things started taking off around 98.
Awesome.
It says that you were once a spokesperson for Arby's fast food restaurants.
No,
I
that
had a
is
feeling
false.
that may have been
But
wrong.
I did work at McDonald's when I was in high school, so if you want to print that, go right ahead.
I was like, I'm sure
Actually
I
made it to
would've seen
shift manager. I was a shift manager.
Damn.
Yeah, man.
Making
And
moves.
then drums took over my life, and I was done. My last job I had was at a photo mat. If anybody remembers how far along that was.
Oh, just the little tiny booths in the
used
middle
to go.
of the
Me and
parking
Rex
lot.
used to
Yeah,
both
yeah.
work. I worked at this one. He worked at that one, and we would just go there and sleep until somebody knocked on the window and wanted to pick up their pictures,
my
man.
God.
Because we jammed all night long, and so we had like this 10 to 2 shift, and we would just go in there and sleep.
This one I just had to ask, because although we do know your past as a exotic dancer, it says on Wikipedia you went by the moniker of Tom Meat Swinger.
That
Morello.
is incorrect.
That's
That is
incorrect. I thought so because I typed that in.
Exotic.
And I did not see a
Oh,
quote.
were you the one that put it on the?
I was not, but I was like, "There's no way that's true."
That was not true. That's not
okay.
true.
Not
That's
that.
not true.
I've seen that on many a website.
Yeah, that is followed
Have
me
you run
a little
into
bit.
that
That's
as well?
followed me around a little bit, but no.
Okay, so
No.
okay,
It was a duo. It was like a tandem duo. It was that we would do bachelorette parties, and we had a particular financial goal. We wanted to buy a hot tub for our apartment.
Excellent.
So that's very exotic dancer-like
All
sort
right.
of need, and we wanted like the right one, the nice one. So we worked, and then we retired from the sex trade after we.
Once you got the hot
Yeah,
tub.
once we got the money for the hot tub. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, so it was
That's
a
very
short
good.
tenure in
Okay,
the
so-
world of exotic dancing.
Not true. The Meat Swinger.
Brick House was our jam. Though. That was, that's really if you want to make money. That's
read
really,
about that.
You go with that. Yeah.
I read about that, yes. It says you attended Fairleigh Dickinson University in Madison, New Jersey, where you received a degree in psychology, and then you went on to study corporate communications.
I did. I had a full corporate job before I even did Dillinger. Like I'm like 100 years old. I graduated. I was in graduate school. I wore a tie. I dealt with like
Really?
AT&T and huge companies, and then I'd like go to the like punk clubs and play Dillinger,
Sure.
and it was crazy. I'd come to work with like black eyes, and it was like Fight Club, and it was really weird. And then eventually, I kept trying to get off work so many times to go.
Yeah.
I realized, wait a minute, I'm a real musician. Like this is my job now. I'm taking off of work more than I'm going to work now. So I just transitioned and got, said no to the stock options and all that stuff, and got in a van and literally been on the road ever since.
I actually saw this, it says that you worked on special effects for the X-Files.
Yeah, I did some work on some of the episodes.
That's so cool. Please tell me anything about that. A huge X-Files
I'm
fan.
trying to think back. That's memory lane. Yeah, I would do these sketches. Like I was an illustrator, so sometimes I do storyboards to kind of show the producers like
Sure.
what the team would work on, and sometimes I just do a drawing so the sculpt team could build something. So there was one episode where there was just lizards in walls, because I guess there was some kind of dimensional portal where they got stuck.
Of course.
Somewhere. There's like a golem monster. It was like, I think they call it the mud monster. It was a monster made of mud with a bunch of trash all over him.
So you kind of designed those monsters and...
Yeah, I do a sketch and then give it to the guys, and they start building something that looked kind of like it.
Wow.
The sketch would go from me. They would send it to the producer to get approved. Okay, go make that, and then to the sculpting team to build it, and then make molds, paint it, put hair or whatever on it.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And tons of aliens. They always had these.
Oh, of course.
Skinny neck aliens with big eyes.
Definitely.
And I don't know why they kept having me draw that, because they always look the same.
Whatever, keeps you employed, right?
Yeah.
It says in 1998, you moved from Michigan to New York City, where you worked as a bubblegum machine salesman, a parking attendant, and a waiter.
Never worked as a waiter.
No, okay, so fiction.
I worked in a Mexican restaurant at the counter making milkshakes, taking orders, and clearing tables. But it was not. It was a self-serve counter-style Mexican restaurants. I also washed dishes primarily. So I would say I was never a waiter. Out of respect for real waiters who actually are working at a real waiting at a real restaurant experience, I was not a waiter. And besides, that was in Michigan. I was a parking attendant, but that was also in Michigan. So the only true statement there was when I moved to New York City, one of my first jobs was as a bubblegum machine salesman.
Tell me about the life of a bubblegum machine salesman in New York City.
Well, our office was at 29 Broadway. That's right in the heart of the financial district.
Sure.
And initially I'd sold them from home, but we were doing well enough within the company to have a small office. And I did the best I could. I had a hot streak, and then I dried up, and I never really fully recovered. Sales is a very challenging way to make a living. It's high pressure. But I learned a lot that I was able to apply to entertainment, because it's about manipulation. There you're trying to manipulate people to sell them gumball. Here I'm trying to manipulate people to get them excited about partying.
While focusing on your music career, you had jobs delivering film to developing outlets, and you had a job walking racehorses.
Those are both facts.
Both facts. Yeah. How do you walk a racehorse?
Carefully. The job is called a hot walker. And what they do is these thoroughbred racehorses that are kind of high strung, they stay in their stall most of the day. And they get out to exercise about maybe 20 minutes in the morning. The jocks will come in and they'll ride them around. And when they are done exercising, they have to cool down. So the hot walker's job is they come off the track after exercising, just like out of their minds. And they hand you the reins and say, now walk them in a circle and calm them down.
So it was essentially like walking a dog
job.
Almost, like with a leash, kind of.
Yeah, a little more dangerous than that, though.
Yeah, I was thinking when they'd run off, it's like when they run off, you're going with them.
Yeah, they were pretty wild when they come back from exercise.
That never happened, though.
Did any of them ever get away, you mean?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, good.
Seen them kick holes through the barn, though.
Oh, jeez. At least it was just the barn. You got a job with your father doing construction work when you were young. You were required to cut your hair for it, but instead you opted to wear a wig to fool your dad.
This is true.
This is true.
And not just my dad, the whole company.
Nobody wanted long hair.
I came from a very strict Catholic family. I went to all-boy Catholic high school, and my dad's very strict, old-fashioned, did not like the long hair, and I couldn't have it in school because I was going to school wearing a tie, all-boy Catholic school, and couldn't do that. As soon as I graduated, I grew my hair really long, and I was in my band, and he offered me a job, but he's the one that didn't like the long hair. So he said, in order for me
he's the boss,
right? So and some of the other bosses at the company and the owners weren't big fans of it.
Sure.
So I thought my best solution to get what I wanted was to buy a short-haired wig and hide my long hair under it, and I somehow pulled it off for like 4 years. I don't know how.
4 years you did construction.
It was a nightmare, and I mean, it looked terrible.
Nobody could tell.
It looked terrible. I mean, they couldn't tell because I always put either a baseball hat on or a bandana or something to cover most of it. So once my dad figured it out after a long period of time that I fooled him, then he realized my commitment to my music and my band and everything. And he had to kind of laugh that he realized that I fooled him for that so long. And the entire company, nobody had a clue that my hair was, I mean, it was like, almost down to my waist at that point, my real hair.
Wow.
So it was kind of funny. We look back at it and laugh at it now. I actually have old pictures of me at Christmas or Thanksgiving dinner, and I'm there wearing a short hair wig, fooling everybody.
Oh my God! Will you send me one of those photos?
It's pretty frightening, man. Okay. I can maybe show it to you. I don't know if I can give you it.
We'll see.
In the past, you made money as a pimp from
not much money as a pimp. I was trying to pimp, but not a lot of money. Maybe about like $40.
Worth it. From jewelry, robbing jewelry stores.
Made a lot of money doing that.
And robbing banks.
Touched on that. We touched on that. Most of the money was from jewelry stores and other crimes. I wanted to pimp. I started reading Iceberg Slim books.
Yeah.
And I had a bunch of hustling girls with me, so I tried to pimp on them, and they got scared and ran to my friends. Like, I was just trying to pimp me. Why is he trying to pimp? So I was trying to send them, and it's difficult. They say pimping ain't easy. I'll make it more simple. Pimping is difficult.
Rob, before joining Judas Priest, you were the manager of a cinema.
Oh, yes.
That was right? What other odd jobs did you have before Priest?
We were talking earlier about Spinal Tap, and I had a Spinal Tap moment. You know where they ask, what's his name, what other job could you do? And he could go, I could work in a men's shop. Like, that's a nice hat, sir. Would you like to try this one on? What size are you? I actually worked in a place like that.
Yeah?
Yeah, I actually worked in a menswear. So you wouldn't understand that. Some British fans would. Upstairs, not upstairs, downstairs. So yeah, I did have a slight involvement in the artistic world of pornography.
Really?
Yeah, it was a porno cinema. But so. I did that, and then I worked at a legitimate theatre called the Grand Theatre Wolverhampton when I came straight out of high school, and that was extraordinary for me. I think that really was a driving force for me to actually get out on a stage, just standing on the side and watching all of these incredible performances, whether it would be repertory theatre or opera or just variety. Tons of different types of theatre performances was really really relevant for me, and pushing me out into the entertainment world.
Wow, I never heard that porno theatre one.
Yeah, I thought that's what you meant. So you thought I worked in a regular cinema?
I thought it was a regular cinema.
Or somebody on Wikipedia thought.
I never knew there was a porno cinema in Warsaw. Salubrious.
Well, it was about about half as big as this room. There were like 3 chairs and guys going like that, And it was cost about £2 to get in.
I used to go to pictures on a Saturday morning. It used to cost 6pence to get in, and I had 3pence for a nice one. And that was my experience of Saturday morning pictures.
I was going to say, I really hope that you weren't like the mop-up guy at that cinema.
No, you just leave that. It just blends into the carpet.
Oh, God.
It's like walking on
Eventually.
ice. Crunch, crunch, crunch.
Well, you did ask the question.
I see, Well, we will always answer the question within the honesty of metal.